it's Coach Tori, and this is Raising Runners. We talk running, fitness, mental health, and so many more topics. As the founder of a youth running program, I approach all of our conversations with our youth athletes in mind and kind of have a focus around those things. But as you will see, we are finding that all of these topics relate to runners and people who like to move and do fitness or anything like that. Relates to everybody. Check it out. Hey, it's Coach Tori.
And Jeff.
And this is Raising Runners. And today we are talking running etiquette because I feel like it came up in some recent episodes, but also maybe one of our like running rhetoric episodes or just kind of in casual conversation. I can't even remember now. But I feel like we've been talking about it. And then you found some, we talked about how we didn't really have any, I feel like actually is what we talked about. Then you found some info and have changed your mind on that. I have yet to change my mind. And then I took to social media and found a lot of things people had to say. So we're kind of going to talk through those things as well. It'll probably be a little bit shorter. But first I wanted to ask how your running resolutions are going, a whole 3 days in.
3 days in. I am 3 for 3, 124 days to go till the marathon.
Wow.
So I'm on track after 3 days though.
I mean, that's progress. I don't know what the statistics are. I think it's usually by like February, people have dropped off by a large margin, but 3 days strong is good.
I think it's within 3 weeks, 80+% of people's resolutions are gone.
That's wild. That like proves that we shouldn't do them, but won't digress on that. Cool. Yeah, I ran twice so far this week, very short, but I did a run. That's actually, I put the shoes on, planned the run, did the run. So, that's speaks to nothing.
Your voice sounds better. So it sounds like maybe you're getting healthier. I know last time we were on the call, your voice sounded like it was struggling. So
yeah, I've been taking, now it's just like a sinus thing. Sinuses are still feeling like if I like move too fast or like turn my head, it's like a whole, fun, like that weird sinus stuff. But, and we went to Dutch Wonderland over the weekend and, in the roller coasters, it was like not great, but, and by roller coasters, it's toddler roller coasters, right? But like, it's still a roller coaster to me, especially. So
yeah, it sounds more like a merry-go-round, but okay.
Yeah, but like some of them are intense. Like there's a turtle ride that it does like the
turtle ride. I mean, a turtle ride.
I know. And of course he's obsessed with the turtle ride, but yeah, it goes like goes in a circle and then you're in a thing, but like it's not like the teacups where like it spins kind of at a consistent rate and you can like adjust the speed. It's like on like some kind of like tilted spinny thing that like the I'm sure you've done the ride, but
oh yeah,
it's intense and it was a lot. So for me, and of course, like I can barely stand up when the ride's over after 45 seconds or whatever. And he's like, again. I'm like, I'm gonna throw up, but sure. So yeah, so sinuses are the problem now, but yeah, voice is better. We're now on like yet another round of sickness in the house. So fingers crossed it doesn't get to me, but we'll see. So but yeah, 2 runs in, so I something.
Well, congrats.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so running etiquette, I honestly can't even remember where I was at last time we talked about it, but I feel like it was the very basic things. But I also feel like so my thoughts on running etiquette was like, obviously it's like courtesy type things, but more like what you need to know if you've never run before to be like, how do I almost like fit in kind of, right? Not like, I don't know, maybe I'm saying that wrong too, but like, so I'm thinking like, when I go to a new gym or whatever, like I want to know like, where am I supposed to put my stuff? Who do I talk to? Do we put things away in this order? Like CrossFit's one of those things where it's like, you don't clean up your stuff until everyone's done. Like that's something you want to know before you start class, right? So it's also, that's more how I was thinking of like running etiquette. And that's where I'm coming up with things like, you don't flat tire somebody, or you don't go running right around somebody and then you slow down right in front of them, right? Or when you're running on the roads, like typically people are running like with traffic, but they also can do the other way. You don't really want to run when there's no shoulder, like those kinds of things that are just like make sense. But do you remember what some of yours were before
Yeah,
we did some looking into it?
I think I only had two before. One was like the don't stop short at the water station.
Ah, right, right, right.
Yeah, and the other one was, I guess, the don't run like in five wide on the street. So when you run up on them, you can't. Okay, now I've got to go way around them if I happen to be running quicker than them. Um, so that was the only two I had on my list. But I might be a running jerk, and you might be a running jerk.
I might
Meaning,
be.
if we only have two things on our etiquette list, and there's actually 10, we might be running jerks.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm gonna go through social media first, and
Okay,
then we'll see if it lines up with the list you found. Does that work?
that's work. I'll try to tick mine off as you go through yours, and hopefully I'll just be able to add a couple in at the end.
All right. So, and again, this was like put on large groups in Facebook, so got lots of fun crowdsourcing. But also, anybody who did not hear your things listed, please feel free to write in because we would love to talk about it. So the first, things again, a lot of it makes lots of sense, slash like goes along with things we already talked about. So giving distance, don't run too close. Also people mentioned like some people don't like chatting. So I think we've talked about this in a bunch of different contexts, but like some people want to talk, some people don't want to talk. So that was like another running etiquette thing people were saying. So this list kind of turns more into like pet peeves.
Yeah, because I don't know how I'm
That's not
supposed to know whether you
etiquette.
want to talk or not. Because by the way, I don't want to talk.
Right.
So,
Right.
but if someone talks to me, I will not be rude and not talk back.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't think someone was being rude if they just started talking to me and I didn't really want to talk.
Right. So for me, I would say like the don't run too close, and that goes for like the front, the side, and the back.
Yeah,
And that would go with running etiquette. I would say the talking thing is more of like a pet peeve. And then like now you're struggling with like social dynamics, which can be annoying, but not really an etiquette issue.
I agree.
Um, and one thing that actually did not come up on here for running etiquette, and this is something I never knew people talked about, but have you heard of like one stepping in running? I think they're calling it one stepping.
No, I'm not familiar
Okay.
with one step.
So I know probably like they're gonna be like, you're an idiot. That's not what it is. But I saw this on social media recently too, is when you're running with people, a group of people, and if someone like, you're running like all kind of like abreast, right? If you're running, spread out or whatever. And then there's a person who like is one or two steps like in front of the group, like they have to always have like that one step edge.
I'm
It almost
leading the pack.
right, right, right. So that's a thing that like people hate, which I'm like, oh my gosh, again, like, yeah, because I am that person. I am always that person. Never realized it. But I feel the opposite when it's like if I feel like I'm not one step, then I'm like, oh no, this person's pushing the pace, and then that makes me anxious. So that's one that's not on this list, but I just learned about this recently.
So I think
Um,
we've now just confirmed.
I'm the running jerk.
Yes.
Oops. Yeah, I didn't even mean to put that out so early, but yeah, sorry everybody. I don't
Well,
know
now
how
it's
to
just,
run right.
yeah, now it's a function of how much, like, are you a real big jerk? Like, do you violate 10 of the 11 rules, or are you violating just one or two? I mean, I think we all probably violate one or two rules.
Probably. So
Yeah.
here's another one that I didn't think of because I know we talked about like, going with traffic if you're running on
Yeah.
like roads and stuff, but people are also saying slow runners should stay to the right and people should pass on the left like traffic, which I feel like now you're assuming people are doing too much organization, especially like in a race. I think to some extent that happens, but also I feel like you pass people wherever it makes sense to pass them. No?
Well, I think I'm
Oh
gonna
my
say
gosh, am I
that rule
wrong
I knew.
again?
I'm gonna say I'm not backing you on this one. I knew that rule.
What?
Yeah, because like
Slow
everyone always
people
said
stay to the
like
right?
on the left. Everyone like you don't hear on the right, you hear on the left. I'm passing on the left. So when you come up on someone, you almost again, maybe you don't say, maybe you say, "Hey, I'm coming off on your right." That's not
Maybe
what
I
you should be
just
saying.
maybe I just never thought about it. Cause yes, I know like on the trail, like the bikes always go by and they're on the left and that like makes sense. But I guess like in my head, I'm more stuck on like slow people stay on the right. I don't feel like that's a thing. Like how do I
Yeah,
know
no,
how
that
do I know I'm the slow person on the right? How do I know how fast you're going? Right?
yeah.
No? Oh my gosh, am I just like a
Well,
dummy?
I think it's like driving, right? If you shouldn't be in the passing lane unless you're passing someone. So you should
Okay.
naturally gravitate to the right hand side of the path just to allow always people to pass. So you don't have to worry about how fast they're going, because they'll have the open road unless you're passing someone.
Yeah. Okay. No, and I'm picturing myself running on like the one big trail near here, and I definitely am always staying on the right, especially because I have the stroller and people always pass the left. So like I do this, but I don't think I consciously thought of this. And I'm picturing in like a race setting, I don't think I'm always passing on the left. But
It's a rule. It's a rule.
yikes! Well, apparently, and I didn't know it. Great. Okay, this one has to not be a thing that people all know about. Raising your hand when you're slowing down or stopping. So
That's the
people
thing.
behind that.
That's the
What?
thing. Yeah,
Well, I guess I've never.
I don't think that one's probably a little bit more obscure. I mean, I do think
What?
people do that. Like it's almost like there's a warning signal, like military people. Like it's like slowing. Hey, everyone, hold still. I mean, I think so. So I do think there's a little bit of like, hey, I'm about to do something.
I've
No,
never seen this in my life, and
yeah,
I
that
also am
one
not a slower down or stopper in like a big group of runners, like at a race or whatever. But I've never seen that.
I'd say it's rare. I will say that I have
Okay.
seen it, but it's not. It's been the rare occasion. So, but it wasn't like when I saw it, I was like, oh, what is this guy raising his hand for?
Okay. Wow. I'm like really drawing a blank here. I'm the worst.
Maybe because
Okay.
I sent that list into you on social media.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're the only one that responded. Be able to hear your surroundings. Again, that is like more of a safety thing, I think we talk about, but like, yeah, I guess that makes sense
Well, that's
as
on
an
my list.
etiquette thing.
It's a little bit of an etiquette thing, right? From the standpoint of if your headphones are too loud to hear the person coming up from behind to say, "I'm on your left,"
Ah, right. That
then
that whole rule.
yeah, that rule back to rule number one, right? Whatever that rule is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if you have it too loud, and the other thing I saw on social on a couple of different lists, it wasn't on my original list, was if you're running in a group, leave your headphones at home. That's like sort of etiquette. So
Yeah.
if you're agreeing to be social and going to run with a group, don't even bring your headphones because you don't want to be that guy. And maybe you're that girl. Maybe you are that girl.
This one I will say, like I mean, because I'm often running alone, so I'm usually listening to something, even though I have those open headphones. But yeah, when I run with the group, I don't even bring them, but there is a few people who do, and it does always make you feel like a little weird when you like find yourself running next to them because you're like, oh, I don't talk to them because they're got their headphones in.
Especially
Um,
if you say something to them and then they're like,
huh?
oh, what? And they click their ear.
And you're like,
So now I'm like, oh,
oh,
I have to repeat
no.
it now because I was really just saying hi. Like, oh,
Right. I
now
was
it's
just like, hey,
awkward.
how's it going? Or like, funny seeing you here in the group. Right. Yeah. It's like I was just talking about the weather. So yeah, so no, that is a good like safety thing. And I guess it does fall in etiquette too. Now this is one that I do not do, have never done, but I don't think this is an etiquette rule because I don't think I see people do this all the time. So no snot rockets was a rule. Okay,
Uh,
fair,
yeah,
that's gross, but people do
yeah.
that constantly. You're at a race somewhere and it's just like people are blowing their noses in all directions. So like should be a rule, doesn't seem to actually be one, right?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That one, I mean, when you're running, like if your nose is running and it's sort of interfering with your breathing, it's almost like you have to do it. If again, you don't have to do it, but so the only thing I saw on the etiquette list was there was one like that that I didn't have initially on mine either. It was like a UK rule. Is if you're going to spit, you have to look around before you do it. So
Fair.
so I think that's would apply here too. Is if you're gonna do that, just make sure it's not a windy day and the wind's not blowing at the next person like next to you. Just be conscious of it.
I will
It
say,
is
I feel
gross.
like,
It is
oh,
it is gross though.
so gross. I feel like I usually see people do try to like lean off to the side or like even just like lean lower. So like if for nothing else, it like hits your leg. It's not
Yeah.
like your face. I don't know. Nasty regardless.
It is nasty, but I mean, I've
Yeah,
done it.
people do it everywhere. Not
Yeah,
me.
I have done it. I mean, it's just like if you're on a 10-mile run and it's cold and your nose is running, it's like again, it's interfering with your breathing. I mean, I don't have a choice. I feel like I mean, I do bring tissues. I will do that, but they run out. Like I mean, how many tissues can you have?
So, and yeah, I say like I don't do it like I'm like all above everyone else. I'm probably grosser. I'll do the sleeve because I don't have the finesse of like blowing it anywhere because it would just be running down my yeah, it would right. It's disgusting. It would just run. I do the sleeve
It
like a
wouldn't be
little
a
kid.
rocket. It would be sort of just
It's
an
just like a
aborted
blob.
mission.
Yeah, so yeah, gross. But that way it's not getting on anyone else. So like I really am not violating etiquette rules because it's just in my sleeve and I fold it up,
Yep.
good to go.
Okay. All right.
Gross. Anyway, moving on to less gross. This is what I thought was weird because we kind of talked about this with giving distance. So I obviously saw people saying like if you're running in a group, kind of stay like bunched up or whatever, and like, rows or something, so you're not like 10 people across,
Yep.
right? But then I saw some people saying if you're running in a group, spread out so that people can like
Like
filter through
weave
your
in between you,
group.
like
Right. Sorry, whoever suggested that. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just like confused by that seems more complicated.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, they could mean just to give them the benefit of the doubt. They could mean like if you're a group of 10. I mean, she's not suggesting you would line up. He or she wouldn't suggest you line up 10 across and just run like a complete barrier like across the street.
maybe, yeah, maybe I'm picturing it wrong. Maybe they meant like in twos or
Yeah,
threes.
yeah, group,
Yeah.
yeah, pair up a little bit, like yeah, yeah. That's what I was sort of picturing when you said just again to try to give someone the benefit of the doubt that they wouldn't be suggesting just line up across the thing like, hey, we're going to prevent everyone from passing.
Right. Okay. No, that makes more sense. Sorry, I chuckled. It's probably the same thing. I was just thinking the wrong thing. I'm like on a roll today.
You are.
Yeah. Thank the race workers and any volunteers. Again, like maybe not etiquette, that's more just like manners for people.
It
But
was on
again,
the
not a
etiquette.
bad one.
It's not a bad one. It was on the etiquette list. Show respect to
Okay.
volunteers, so it's on the race day list.
All right. This was one people were very like everyone was putting this one. People were like liking, commenting, like, yes, this. Okay, ready? Start in the correct racing corral.
Yep.
So not even just like if you're too slow, you shouldn't be there, but also like they don't want the fast people, which you do. They don't want the fast people in the back passing people and causing whatever issues. But yeah, they really don't want the slow people in the front for sure. And they really don't like that thing that you also don't like of like you started out with a group and you're immediately walking. That makes no sense. You're in the wrong corral. So yeah, people are very, I didn't think this was a thing people cared too much about. Again, I
Yeah,
get it though, because like they're there for a reason, but yeah,
this is the
not
one
people aren't
that
like this.
yeah, this is the one that I'm the jerk. So
Yeah.
yeah, because as you know, right? I mean, it really was that first race we did last year, the Rocky Run, where we started in the very back because we had the stroller. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when I say we had the
I was
stroller,
gonna say
we had
we
the
had the
stroller.
stroller.
Yeah, we were there, and I didn't have a stroller, and you did. So we had to start in the back, and it was like the best thing ever. I'm like, wow, this is and as you realize and you remember, right? As soon as the gun went off, I was planning to run with you
Yeah, it didn't
both the
happen.
way. That didn't happen. As soon as the gun went off, something triggered inside me. I don't know
You
what it
left.
was, but I went back to my like college and high school running days, and the gun went off, and I had to go. And I just went, and it was like, wow, this is motivating passing people. Like the whole time, like I was keeping track. Like, has anyone passed me yet? And when you start dead last, there aren't many people to pass you.
Correct.
So, but unless you pass someone who's really going slow early on, and then they decide like, okay, I'm not letting that guy pass me, they could come back and get you. But most races I've been doing that. I think I've done it every time since then.
I was gonna say, I think
So I
you brought
am
that up.
I am the jerk on that one.
Well, I will say that people think that's the lesser of two evils. People really hate the slow people starting in the front. So, you know, you're breaking a rule, but not the worst part of the rule.
Okay. Right.
Um, let's see. Keep kids under control at family events if it's like a family running thing.
Yeah, I
Sure,
don't even think you need to put family thing. I think you just got to keep kids under control. And you stop
everywhere.
it. Period. Full stop.
But right, that's like doesn't feel like a running etiquette thing. Because also, like, if you're running with your kids, you're okay. I'm picturing me running with my like I'm responsible for James in the stroller because I don't have to keep him in control. He's in the stroller. If he's running as a person, like by himself, now it's like his own running rule. Like it's a his running etiquette.
Mm.
Like
When do you
I'm
start
obviously
being the
responsible as a
parent?
parent, though. It's not like it's not a running thing. I'm now a parent who has to be responsible for a kid. Like you would have to be responsible for him anywhere, whether he was running or not. You know what I mean? No, is it not a running thing?
Yeah, well, I guess I was just picturing how was this young athlete, this little 5-year-old who's now out there for his first run, 5K. How is he to know all these etiquette rules? Are you supposed to teach him these etiquette rules, or is it learned by experience? So you got to coach him a little bit during the run, like, hey, you can't keep jumping left and right. You can't chase butterflies during the run.
I
Uh,
guess.
yeah, I don't know. That's just
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, well, keep kids under control. People were also big on this. Keep the kids under control. And with this, keep dogs on a short leash
That's on the
if you're
list.
running with
Thanks.
dogs. And if you have a stroller or a dog, you start in the back. All those kind of feel lumped together.
They are. They are all linked together. The things that words they use is keep your dog in check.
Ooh, get them.
Yeah. And I think you should follow this rule since you tripped too. You tripped too.
But also, like, this again is a weird one. Again, I get it because I've seen people on the trails and some of them don't have their dogs under control. And it is very alarming when you're running past a dog who's like, even if they're not being aggressive or whatever, and that doesn't even need to be in quotes, but and they're like going towards you, like that feels scary to people. That can cause a safety concern. So like I do totally understand that. Um, I
Yeah, I
felt
mean,
like
I'm
I
a
was saying
guy.
that like it was a but there's not.
Okay, no, I wasn't sure if you were done, but
Yeah, I was done.
yeah, I mean, I have the same caution, right? Because I run on that trail in Cooper River in Jersey here, so there's a lot of people who walk their dogs, and some people have them off leash, and they're, these can be some pretty big dogs, and I'm like, man, I just don't know which one's going to be the one that's going to take off, or if you pass someone and they're not facing you, right? They're walking the same direction you are, but they're walking their dog, you're
Hmm.
running. As you go by, you don't want to startle them or the dog, and because it could just lurch at you. So
Oh yeah.
it's a little concerning when that's why you have to announce on your left, coming on your left.
Right. Yes, that's why all these rules are working in tandem. Again, things I just never thought about, I guess. Or I
Yeah,
just assumed because they were just part of, running. I didn't know it had to be like an explicit thing.
yeah, there's a rule.
Um, let's see. Oh, using speakers out loud. Like obviously, right? That is the most you do that, don't you?
No, no, I do not. No, that's not true. I have done it, but only the one time that I couldn't get my headphones connected.
Ah,
But
okay.
one time is one time. It was a marathon, so there was a lot of people that I'm sure heard Eminem.
Yep.
I really didn't
Lose
want to hear
yourself.
Eminem over and over again.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Yeah. I get that one though. Like that is kind of, but also, I mean, I actually don't get that one. I do. I get it. People
I
want to have a
do.
thing.
I don't think you should impose your music on other people.
No, but I also feel like, yeah, okay, fine. Yes, you're right. I've never done that, but I'm picturing like when we run races and, like the Rocky run's a good example, right? Because they have like lots of different people doing music or like there's a radio show on the side of the thing. Like I think that's so fun to run past them and like hear whatever they're playing and whatever. And like there's just like a fun thing. But yeah, I guess if I'm running next to someone the entire time and they happen to be
Yeah.
listening to some, yeah, I get it. Okay, you're
Yeah, no,
right. That
yeah,
one's
running
good.
past them, I think it's great when you run past them. It's like, that person's listening to like country music. Yeah. It's when you're right with them, like for the next half hour. It's like,
Yeah.
man, I don't want to hear that. So the other
Yeah.
thing that was on the list that related to this one is don't have your watch like announcing like either beeping for the mile. I've never noticed that one. Like my watch does like it's always either on my headphones. I never or it's on vibrate. Have you noticed that one as being an issue? Like when you're doing runs on a race and people are have their watch like sort of beeping every mile or something or less.
No, I never
Okay.
noticed that. I know like when I run sometimes with a group when it's like much quieter than a race, like you'll hear the most I ever hear is like someone's watch saying like we're at a mile, but like mine had gone off, like they all go off at the same time, so it's just kind of like whatever. But that was on this list as well. People were saying that they don't like the metronome, I guess, of like whoever if you're doing the run walk method and your thing's going off constantly, which again is kind of weird because again, maybe I have my like when I do intervals, it goes to my headphones, like the sound. So it doesn't go to the phone, I don't think. Or like out loud. So yeah, no, I get that that could be annoying. Not annoying enough for me to probably bring it up though as a rule, but
Yeah, not
um
enough to confront somebody who's doing it.
yeah, like I feel like I would maybe think like in the moment, like, oh wow, that's like just keeps beeping, but like, yeah, that wouldn't bother me enough to be like, you shouldn't do that. Cause like I get the idea of like people if you that's your plan and that's how you're gonna run the thing, like it's a beep, right? It's not like I don't know.
You
I
know
don't know.
why?